What's going on, everybody? Hope you're all having a fantastic day today. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I know many times in the past, pretty much the whole Call of Duty community has pointed out that Call of Duty is on a massive decline. And I'll be honest, they have been on the decline, but realistically, because of Warzone, it's been able to thrive. And people obviously still purchase the game every single year because of campaign, all these other features. So, of course, it's still been able to tug, but it has been slowly getting worse and worse and worse. But today, oh man, the news that I have for you all today is going to be devastating. It's truthfully devastating. I cannot imagine that Activision, Infinity Ward, any of the developer teams are going to be able to sit back and, not do anything anymore. Activision is going to be on Infinity Ward's butt. They might have gotten praise for Warzone 1, but boy, oh boy. Ladies and gentlemen, like I said, they are about to get whooped. But, of course, before we go ahead and hop into today's commentary, I do want to mention, if you enjoy what you hear today, you enjoy my commentaries, and you also want to hear more about future FPS topics, Call of Duty, Battlefield, we're even going to be talking about Gears, we're going to be talking more about Halo. I mean, gosh, I love FPS games. So if you are a fan of those games as well, I would definitely suggest hitting the subscribe button, hitting the bell notification button to be notified, and I also stream over on Twitch every day besides Sundays as well. So if you want to interact with me live and in action, the link to that channel is down in the description of this video. Now, ladies and gentlemen, as you can see right here from Charlie Intel over on Twitter, oh boy, for the first time since launch, Modern Warfare 2 and Warzone 2 have fallen below 90,000 players on Steam. And as you can see right here, it is getting demolished. And also, I guess, free shout out to Air Max to get him free ads here. Oh, geez, but this is the picture from Charlie Intel that he posted up here, showcasing that it has finally fallen below 90,000 players on Steam. And I gotta be honest, this is a huge decline because it's not just, the fact that it has fallen below 90,000 people, but at the same time, do you see that downtrend? The lack of attention from the whole community. I mean, even since the beginning of January, probably in December, it has been no interest in the game. We are at the end of March, ladies and gentlemen. The end of March, not even Season 2, was enough to keep it extremely relevant. And I do get that Call of Duty games over time die out. Call of Duty isn't like other franchises where people play it, year in, year out. Well, it used to be a little bit, but obviously a lot of people pick up the game, they play it for a few months, maybe even 4 or 5 months, then they put it aside and they wait for the next one. That's literally how Call of Duty pretty much produces every single year. So I get that people lose interest, after the initial first few months of the game releasing and launching, but these numbers are horrible. Even back in all the previous releases of Modern Warfare 2019, Black Ops Cold War, Vanguard, Warzone has stayed on top. Warzone, like I said, has kept Call of Duty relevant. It keeps people interested. It keeps people coming back. And I guarantee you it keeps people purchasing the game. Because without purchasing the game, the camo grinds, the weapon grinds are extremely hard to grind through unless you have the full portion of the game. So even with Activision completely neglecting the multiplayer experience, completely neglecting their hardcore audience, even though they did all of this stuff, Warzone was still able to produce sales, not just with microtransactions, but of actual physical copy sales. People are purchasing the game because of Warzone. So it always stayed relevant. It always made money. It always had players playing. But that's no longer the case. Warzone, you can even go on Twitch whenever you feel like it. And I know not a lot of people like to go on Twitch, but seriously, these numbers are good to look at. Compare multiplayer numbers to Warzone 2 numbers. We always compare, how many people are even streaming it at a moment. And everybody says, well, you can't always rely on Twitch numbers. And it's true, but you can definitely compare which one is more popular. And Warzone has always completely knocked the multiplayer out every single time when it came to just viewership, people wanting to view the game. Not anymore. Multiplayer is practically beating Warzone 2 at all times on the Twitch charts and on YouTube as well. People are losing so much interest in Warzone 2 that top-tier content creators are literally still leaving the game. They left the game because we weren't getting enough content in multiplayer, and now they're leaving because Warzone 2 just basically sucks in their opinion and is not relevant enough. It's Like I said, I'm a little shocked that we got to this point this soon, because I knew it was bound to happen sometime, but I didn't think that Infinity Ward was literally going to screw over the franchise that fast. I thought it was going to take a little time, but they did a speed run. They literally did a speed run of how fast they can kill off the overall game. Like I said, Warzone 2, they completely drastically changed it. And on top of that, the multiplayer experience has no content, no love, and the developers show zero interest with communicating with their community. They're going based off the fact that they have the Call of Duty name on the box. And like I said, that has always worked in the past, but now you no longer have a product to back that up. And honestly, I have to be real with you guys. I am happy. I am extremely happy that this is happening, because even though I love Call of Duty, this had to happen at some point. Infinity Ward had to get knocked off their high horse and wake up. See reality. See what game design actually is. I don't know what world they've been living in, but they've been living a little too comfy. Like I said, Warzone was fluff for them. They probably had the best time of their lives during the Warzone launch. I guarantee it. Activision probably treated them like they've never treated anybody else in this world. And they probably did, because Treyarch had to always pick up the slack of other development teams. They could never have a full development cycle. Sledgehammer's getting tossed around everywhere. They've been having problems themselves. Infinity Ward has been the only team that's actually been shown love. And it's so funny because Activision prioritized Modern Warfare 2. They gave priority to Infinity Ward. They screwed over Treyarch and Sledgehammer Games. They gave them the worst of the worst schedules, the worst scenarios for all of their titles. Like I said, Vanguard is a placeholder. It's the same thing as Modern Warfare 2019. I still, to this day, think that that's why that game had so much content at launch, because they didn't have to actually physically develop the game from the beginning to end. They took so many assets from one game that, they had all the time in the world to make content. I guarantee you that's why that happened. It was a placeholder game for Modern Warfare 2. Cold War should have probably never happened. Treyarch should have had their full development time, but for some stupid reason, instead of skipping a year of Call of Duty, Activision forces Treyarch onto the project, kicks Sledgehammer off, and they have to still work on the game just for Modern Warfare 2. So I want you guys to think of this right now. Activision invested heavily in Infinity Ward this year. They really did. They really did. They invested a ton into them. What do you think their reaction's going to be next? I truthfully think that some huge changes are going to have to happen soon. Modern Warfare 2 back in the day wasn't a bad game, but Modern Warfare 3, the OG, was kind of a more polished off Modern Warfare 2. I think we can all agree on that. Even though Modern Warfare 2 was just so crazy, chaotic, funny, enjoyable, at the end of the day, it wasn't a very well-balanced game. Everything was insane. Everything was absurd. There was so much toxic stuff. Modern Warfare 3 was a more refined version. And guess who made that more than the other? Sledgehammer. Sledgehammer picked up that project. They tried to perfect it, because that's during the time when, the original devs, who obviously moved over to Respawn because they had a major lawsuit with Activision, that was during that time. So Sledgehammer played a huge role in Modern Warfare 3. And I guarantee that they're probably going to do the same thing in the next game if given the right resources. I'm not putting my faith in anything at this point. Like I always say with Call of Duty, they have proved me wrong so many times, even at times when I think it can't get any worse. Some magical, I don't know how, but some magical way, it does get worse. So I'm not putting my faith in anything. But if this game keeps dying like this, that's the direction I think Activision is going to go. They're going to say, Sledgehammer, just listen. Just listen to them. Take what we have here. Take our engine, take the graphics, all that good stuff, but just listen to what the community is saying. It has to come down to it at this point. Like I said, we have always voiced our opinion, but it's finally happening where the casuals don't care anymore. That's why these development teams don't need to listen, because even though the hardcore fans know the main problem to why these games are flopping, casuals will still eat it up. And when I say casuals, I'm not even talking about anybody who's watching this video. Even if you believe you are a casual, you are not. If you have looked up any type of information about Call of Duty, you are not a casual. I'm talking about the person who does not give any craps behind the scenes about what's going on. They probably don't even know that Activision got into massive lawsuits with California over, these sexual harassment charges. They don't know any of this stuff. All they do is they see a commercial once a year saying the new COD game is coming out. They say, oh, look, a cool, flashy commercial, and they buy the game. But those individuals finally see that the game is crap now. Warzone was the way that they were able to enjoy COD. But now that Warzone 2 completely changed everything about Warzone for them, and multiplayer is still just as bad as it's been for like the past, 3 to 4 years, they finally see that the game is not what it's supposed to be. And because they are gone now, the developers are going to have to listen. They can't fall back on the casuals. They can't fall back on people to keep the game relevant and alive. They're going to have to start listening to feedback if they want the game to succeed. And I hope they take that route, because if they don't, players are going to keep dripping away. I mean, I'm already spending all my time pretty much in Battlefield 2042 right now. Honestly, like, the grind is fun. The Battle Pass grind is fun. The events are fun. They're always adding in more portal weapons into the actual game itself. I mean, there's always something new going on within that game. And the Modern Warfare 2, we're sitting here, waiting months and months and months and months just to get one remastered map, basically. Man, like I said, people aren't stupid, and they will understand. The reason that the game has not died out all of these years, I just said it, but I'll say it again because I want to make it as clear as possible, is because the casuals, like I said, even though you might think you're a casual, we aren't. But the overall population of the casuals, they all went to Warzone. Warzone was the most relevant thing for Call of Duty. They didn't care about the direction multiplayer was taking. They didn't care like us, like the hardcore fans. Even if you play casually, you're still probably a hardcore fan. They don't care about that nonsense. They went over to Warzone. But now that Warzone's bad, they have nowhere to go. And more than likely, they're just going to ditch the game. They're going to ditch the game, But we will still be here. We're still going to be voicing our opinions. We're still going to be complaining about it. And eventually, we will be heard, ladies and gentlemen. We will be heard. And I'm hoping that this is good news. This shouldn't be bad news. This should be good news for us. Because I don't think Call of Duty is going to die. Activision won't let it die. Microsoft won't let it die. Nobody who is going to end up with this title in their hands will let it die. At all, ever. It's the biggest money bag that anybody can hold. That's probably why Microsoft wanted Activision in general. Yeah, they have a lot of really good IPs, but come on now. Call of Duty is the ultimate cash cow machine. It is. Every year, it's what people want. It's what investors want. And that's what these publishers care about. They care about the investors. And that's what investors want to see. Yeah, it's great to have, a game release every once in a while, every 5, 6, 7, 8+ years. That will make a lot of money. But Call of Duty is a yearly. It's almost like a subscription service. And that's what people like. They want to see reoccurring money. They want to see that coming in every single year, and that's what Call of Duty provides. It provides legitimate stats proving that they can bring in millions, if not more, every single year. Nobody's going to let that type of game die. I promise you this. But it can get to a point where they will panic. They're not there, but I think we are approaching it. As long as this game keeps dwindling the way that it is, which sucks because, again, like I said, I see the potential in this game, but honestly, with how Infinity Ward isn't listening to us, screw them at this point. Screw Infinity Ward. The ego has to stop. If you didn't have an ego, this wouldn't be a problem. If you listened to the community, this wouldn't be a problem. Almost everybody says that this game has potential if they would just listen, if they just fixed the biggest issues of the game. But they blow it off. They blow it off. So, you get what you deserve. You get what you deserve. You do, and it happens for everybody, If you want to act this way, if this is how you're going to behave to your community, then this is what you're going to get. You're going to get your player count absolutely getting destroyed. I'm so glad Warzone 2, they had an ego for that. I really am so glad. I'm glad they wanted to push with their insane vision, because it once again, like I said, that's what kills Infinity Ward every single year. Their ego. Their ego kills them. Warzone, they got so lucky. But this time around, man, I mean, it got them. It got them really good. But ladies and gentlemen, thanks so much for checking out this video. If you enjoyed it, make sure to leave a like. Bums, I hate it, leave a dislike. Also, for brand new into the content, subscribe at that notification button. Also, want to chat me, this to where you do so. I have Twitter and Discord, both linked down in the description. And also want to catch me live streams, video games, over on Twitch. Link is in the description as well. But guys, thanks so much for tuning in. See you on the next one. Peace out.